AP Stats. This is day 5's homework here tonight. We start the homework for day 5. Again, this is Wednesday, January 29th. This would be questions 59, 60, 61, and then 63 through 69. So that's giving you 10 questions to get you ready for the test. These questions are a review of Chapter 1. These should get you ready for the test questions and for what you're going to have tomorrow. Thursday is the test for Chapter 1. I'm going to ask that last night's and tonight's homework be turned in by then, and then on the test you're going to be given the same amount of time as everybody else. So if for some reason we don't go to school tomorrow, we're on delay, if you have class you will have the test. If you don't, then the test will roll over to the next day, but as soon as you get back will be the Chapter 1 test. Okay, so number 59. Each year in Fortune magazine lists the top 500 companies in the United States ranked according to their total annual sales in dollars. Describe 3 other variables that could reasonably be used to measure the size of a company. So think, how could you measure the size of a company? And different things that you could think about is, you got workers, you got the money. There's just many ways. So think about it and describe them in detail. Ways to describe the company. At least three other ways to describe the company other than what's listed, and then in detail tell how you would do that. Number 60. Here's a set of athletes, baseball players, their salaries in 1998. What individuals does this set describe? So what are the individuals? We talked about that on the quiz. In addition to the player's name, how many variables are there? So other than the individuals, how many variables are there? Which ones are categorical? Which ones are quantitative? So again, this looks just like the quiz. And then based on the data, what do you think are the units of measurement for the quantitative variables? So for instance, the age and the salary, what is the units that they're measuring those in for age and for salary? Okay. Number 61. Number of deaths among persons aged 15 to 24 in the United States in 1997. There were 7 leading causes of deaths for this. Accidents. There's accidents, 12,958. Homicide, 5,793. Suicide, 4,146. Cancer, 1,583. Heart disease, 1,013. Congenital defects, 383. And AIDS, 276. Make a bar graph. So first of all, on your bar graph, the y-axis should go from 0 to 15,000, and you can go up by 3,000 each way. And then your causes of death should go across the x-axis. Remember, a bar graph, the bars do not touch. That takes you through 61. So now we're going to 63 through 69. I'm going to scroll down so I can get this. Question 63 says, here are the percents of the popular vote won by a successful candidate in each of the presidential elections from 1948 to 2000. Make a stem plot of the winners' percents, round to whole numbers, and split stems. So for instance, 49.6 would be 50, 55.1 would be 55, 57.4 would be 57. So first thing we're going to do is round those percents to the nearest whole number. Splitting the stems, if we split the stems, if we use split stems, then we're going to have 2 4s, 2 5s, and 2 6s, because all it is in 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay, remember, splitting the stems would take you from 40 to 44, then the next one would take you from 45 to 49, next one would take you 50 to 54, 55 to 59, 60 to 64, and then 65 to 69. Okay, next says, what is the median percent of the vote? So go through and find the middle number, the median. And it says don't round it, so go back and work with your original data that's not rounded to the nearest percent. And then C says call an election a landslide if the winner's percent falls at or above the third quartile. Find the third quartile. Which elections were landslides? So how do you find the third quartile? Well, you put all the percentages in L1 and do one variable stats. That'll give you the min, Q1, the median, Q3, and the max. Q3 is the third quartile. And then look at those numbers and see which ones of those are above the third quartile, or Q3. Alright, number 64. 64 says the histogram on the next page shows the number of hurricanes reaching the east coast of the United States each year over a 70-year period. Give a brief description of the overall shape and where does the center lie. If you look at this one, you can kind of tell what the shape looks like. See if there's a tail one way or the other, and then kind of see where the center is. The center of the data is at what number. Number 65. On page 17, it gives the highway fuel consumption in miles per gallon for 32 model year 2000 midsize cars. We did a dot plot for these in exercise 1.8. So in question 8 on day 1, you did a dot plot. Table 1.14 shows the highway mileage for 26 four-wheel drive model year 2000 sport utility vehicles. So we already did something for the midsize cars. Then it says this table shows us 26 four-wheel drive ones. Give a graphical and numerical description of highway fuel consumption for SUVs. So for SUVs on 65, they want you to do a dot plot as well. Your dot plot should start at 16. Okay, so 16 would be the lowest and go all the way up to a little bit over 30. Okay, because we have a dot at 16. Table 1.14, just to make sure you, table 1.14, just so you know where that's at. We'll find it for you. It is still looking for it here. Table 1.14. I keep seeing all the tables, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, it's on page 65, sorry. So the data we're looking at for miles per gallon is right there on page 68, right below question 65. Okay, after you do the SUVs, part B says it wants you to make a box plot. So part B says make box plots to compare the fuel consumption of mid-size cars and SUVs. So basically you're going to take the mid-size cars, which is on page 17, put those in L1, do the 5-number summary, make a box plot. Then you're going to take these cars right here, miles per gallon, put these in L1, do the 5-number summary, make a box plot, and compare the two box plots together. Alright, question 66 says Dr. Data asked her students how much time they spent using a computer during the previous week. And here are their response, and it says there's an OGIV of their responses, so it tells how many hours per week they spent on homework. Construct a relative frequency table based on the OGIV. Now, a relative frequency table just tells you how much is in each one. So from 0 to 5, what percent do we have? From 5 to 10, how much is that? From 10 to 15, how much is it? From 15 to 20, how much is it? From 20 to 25, how much is it? And from 25 to 30, how much is it? So just be precise as you can. Estimate the median Q1 and Q3 from the OGIV, then make a box plot. Now, the median would be where you think the middle number is. So look at relative cumulative frequency and look for what's around 50%. That's going to be your median. For Q1, look for around 25% or 0.25, and then for Q3, look for around 75%. So you're just guessing based off that graph. At what percentile does a student who used their computer for 10 hours last week fall? So go over to X to 10 hours and go up and kind of estimate what percent that is at. 67. The rate of return on a stock is its change in price plus any dividends paid. Rate of return is usually measured in percent of the starting value. We have data on the monthly rates of return for the stocks of Walmart stores for the years 73 to 91. First 19 years Walmart was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. There are 228 observations. The next page displays output from those. Now, if you look on the next page, the 5-number summary, you can find the quartiles, you can find the median, and you can find the highest and the lowest number from that box of information. Just look through it. It's there. Describe the features of the distribution. That means SOX, basically shape, outlier, center, spread. And then part C, if you had $1,000 worth of Walmart stock in the beginning of the best month during these 19 years, how much would your stock be worth at the end of the month? If you have $1,000 worth of stock at the beginning of the worst month, how much would it be worth at the end of the month? Again, and use the back to help you with that, but hopefully you'll understand that question. And then part D, find the IQR for the Walmart data. And so do 1.5 times IQR, so you can find Q3 minus Q1 and then see if there's any outliers using that formula to do outliers. Okay, that's the end of part 1. I'm going to move to part 2 and help you on the test here in just a minute.